The DVD was a huge part of our business, of our revenue stream. And when that went away, that changed the type of movies that we could make.
The end of physical media and the introduction of streaming has had a substantially negative impact on movies and is destroying cinema. But the worst part is, streaming wasn't supposed to be anything like this. Before streaming services started offering movies online, piracy was a very popular way to watch movies and TV shows. DVDs were inconvenient, and you had to pay for every single one, as opposed to piracy where you could watch as much as you want for free. But piracy also had a big problem. There was too much malware and viruses online, and if you weren't careful, this is where streaming came in. For a low price, you could watch as many movies and TV shows as you wanted, from the comfort of your own home, without the risk of any form of malware. Most media was available on a single platform for less than $10 a month with their standard plan. That made streaming the most convenient and safe way to consume your favorite media. Platforms like Netflix became popular legal ways to consume content. While piracy and physical media went hand in hand, streaming put an end to both of them, proving that the consumer cares more about convenience than price. When streaming first became popular, it was a very positive force, a myriad of shows and movies in the comfort of your own home at a low price on one or two services. But here's where it started to have a negative impact on movies and cinema.
And so the movies that we used to make, you could afford to not make all of your money when it played in the theater because you knew you had the DVD coming behind the release. And 6 months later, you'd get, a whole nother chunk. It would be like reopening the movie almost.
Streaming replaced DVDs, and while you had to pay for every single DVD, you only have to pay one small price for a streaming service for unlimited access to its catalog. That led to a lot less income for movies on streaming in comparison to their DVD revenue. But now streaming is trying to compete directly with movie theaters.
They'd release a movie in a theater for 3 months and then put it on a streamer. Now, they want to do it in the theater and on a streaming service the same day. So that kills people going to theaters.
Movies used to release exclusively in theaters and then come to DVD or streaming a couple of months later. But now, it's on the same day or a couple of quick weeks later. Glass Onion played in theaters for 1 week, and Mickey 17 was released online a month after its theatrical release. This results in a lot less income for movies, and this completely killed mid-budget movies. Movies like Good Will Hunting and Superbad and The Hangover, which were pearls of the 90s and 2000s, just aren't made anymore. Listen to Matt Damon talk about how the financials of mid-budget movies have changed.
When I talked to a studio executive who explained it was a $25 million movie, I would have to put that much into print and advertising to market it. So now I'm in $50 million. I have to split everything I get with the exhibitor, right, the people who own the movie theaters. So I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit. The idea of making $100 million on a story about like this love affair between these two people, that's suddenly a massive gamble in a way that it wasn't in the 1990s when they were making all those kind of movies.
In the old days, the long run of movies in theaters and the DVD release was enough to allow mid-budget rom-coms and comedies to be made, but now it just doesn't happen. This was semi-worth it when streaming was convenient, but now it's just not. There are a ton of streaming services and there's too much fragmentation of movies and shows between them. Certain movies are on one platform but not the other. One show that was on platform 1 yesterday is on another service today, and some movies are only available in some regions and not in others. Not to mention streaming service originals which are exclusive to their platforms. One of the original goals of streaming was to replace the high cost of cable, but now if you want to watch all the best shows and movies, you need multiple subscriptions. Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, HBO, etc. It's too much. We're just paying the same prices that we were told streaming would eliminate. Streaming has destroyed a huge part of the movie industry, and at the same time has become a very inconvenient and expensive way to consume content. Prices are going up, password sharing, which used to be allowed, is now being eliminated, and the convenience of streaming is vanishing. What's ironic is that physical media and piracy were low quality, risky, and inconvenient methods of consuming media that streaming replaced. But today, streaming has become such a mess that piracy and discs are making a comeback. Plus, the advent of Blu-ray means that physical media is higher quality than streaming. Services like Netflix have become a mess. They put out statements like this and make high-budget movies that cannot warrant their price tag in any way, shape, or form, and people would rather pay directly for media that is amazing and actually good. That's why those who can afford to are choosing to buy discs again, and those who can are just choosing to pirate instead of support these services. Now, I personally am against pirating. The media we consume is not free to produce, so it should not be free to consume either. But when you look at this entire business model, what choice should the consumer make? The way that most people are choosing to support movies right now is by buying a ticket and going to the theater, and others who want to consume media legally are either still paying for streaming or are switching to physical collections. If streaming keeps getting worse and worse, eventually consumers will have no choice but to shift to alternate forms like physical media and piracy. But hopefully it does get better, because streaming can be an amazing way to consume content. Stranger Things on Netflix, Wolves on Apple TV, Palm Springs on Hulu, and some shows that I haven't seen yet but have heard great things about are Severance and Ted Lasso on Apple TV, and Succession on HBO. So I don't want to completely paint streaming services in a negative light here, but they without doubt have destroyed some of the best type of movies we ever got.